hair look nice. Ugh. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm coming at you with my April recap slash monthly favorites. And there's quite a few things to talk about, so let's just get started. The first category I want to start with, of course, is books. And fortunately, I do have an indie author spotlight for this month. Yay! The book that I read in the month of April was The Leviathan Prince by C.K. Miller. And this is the sequel to The Phoenix Host, which I have right here. And like I said, these are indie books, so these were self-published. And actually, the cover was also created by the author, which I think is extra cool. So, The Leviathan Prince is a sequel, so it's not going to make a whole lot of sense unless you read the first one, obviously. That's how sequels work. But it basically continues the protagonist's saga to try to break a curse and, to deal with the aftermath of a big battle slash war that happened in the first book. And I don't want to get too deep into the plot or anything like that, but I will say that I really did like this book, and I believe I gave it 5 stars on Amazon and Goodreads. And the cool thing is that it left off definitely on a cliffhanger, and I'm looking forward to reading the next book in the series. I'm not sure when it's going to come out as of right now, but I will definitely be picking it up once it releases, so I would highly recommend the first 2 books in this series to anyone who wants to support an indie author or who's looking to get into a fantasy book. So I didn't have a traditionally published book for this month, and I think if you've watched any of the other monthly favorites videos I've done, at this rate I can pretty much only get through 1 book per month, but that's okay with me because it just means that I'm reading and finding time to read. We're going to move into the next category, I have my notes here, which is movies. I watched quite a few movies this month, which I always love. Like I've said previously, I love stories and I love movies. I'm just gonna go over them pretty briefly. The first movie I watched for the first time this month was The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and yeah, that's a comedy movie and it's not really new, but yeah, it's a comedy about a 40-year-old man who is still a virgin, and him and his friends are trying to help him lose his virginity, and it's really funny, so if you haven't seen it yet, I would definitely recommend it. The next movie I watched this month was called The Spectacular Now, and this movie, and it's probably not an indie movie, but it had a very, indie movie feeling. I don't think it's a very well-known movie, or at least I haven't heard anything about it. I just happened to notice it on Netflix, and it had Shailene Woodley in it, so I thought I'd watch it because I really like her movies. And it basically follows a high school senior, a boy. What is the actor's name? I can't think of the actor's name off the top of my head, but I'll put it below right here so you guys can see. But basically it follows a high school senior who's kind of I don't know if he's considered a popular guy, but he's definitely sort of frivolous and likes to party, and a lot of people seem to know him. But he does make quite a few mistakes, and he doesn't really take a lot of things very seriously. And he meets a girl, played by Shailene Woodley. I don't remember the characters' names, to be honest. He ends up realizing that even though she's not the hottest girl in school or the most popular girl, that she's very genuine and very nice, and he actually starts to fall in love with her. He's a really complicated person who has a lot of issues that a high school senior would deal with, especially relating to his family and his father, who left the family X amount of years ago. I don't know how many. I think for me it was sort of an average movie. I would probably give it, I think, 3 stars, 2.5-ish. I don't know. It wasn't really overwhelmingly amazing, but the thing that I really liked about it was certainly an emotional movie, but I really liked how it delved into some pretty realistic situations that I think high schoolers would experience, or just young people in general who are struggling to figure out where their future is supposed to go and how to deal with relationships and how to deal with, family troubles and stuff like that. The thing that I liked and also made it a little bit awkward to watch was just how good the actors were at portraying the high school sort of vibe, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say exactly, but you almost felt like they weren't really acting because they were a little bit awkward with each other, and they said things that seemed kind of natural for a high schooler to say. So I liked that it seemed kind of authentic to a high schooler or young adult's experience, but it wasn't a movie that blew me away, unfortunately. So yeah, average movie. The next movie I watched this month, I actually watched with my husband. I've seen this movie plenty of times, but it was his first time watching all the way through, and that is Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Oh my gosh, if you don't know what Monty Python is, you've been living under a rock. Yeah, they're definitely an older sort of, I don't know if you would consider them a comedy troupe, because I know they had their TV show in Britain, England, and they had several movies, but to me, Monty Python the Holy Grail is the best Monty Python movie. You can try and fight me on that if you want, but I'm putting my foot down. It's definitely British humor, which is a little bit quirky and very different from American humor, but like, it's just so weird and random and just very like subtle, funny things that you might not notice, but it's a funny movie. Just watch it if you want a funny movie. Okay, oh god. that says it all. The next movie that I watched this month was Evolution. And this is a comedy that's probably from the early to mid 2000s, and it definitely felt a little bit dated. What was it about? This was a movie that my husband wanted to watch, because I guess he had seen it when he was a teenager and thought it was really funny. I thought it was just kind of like weird, weird humor, not like hilarious, but definitely quirky. It's about a spaceship or some sort of like alien object that crashes to Earth, and two college professors, like science professors or something, they find it and they discover that there's this weird substance on this alien fragment that is evolving super rapidly, and basically just goes through like millions of years of evolution within a couple days, and then there's all these different weird aliens popping up, but then they start just dying because they can't handle Earth's oxygen, even though they managed to evolve into like actual creatures within days without dying. I don't know. There's plot holes, and it's not meant to make a lot of sense or be super serious. It's just like a goofy, kind of dumb comedy. I would have given it like 2 stars. like it was like, okay, this is funny and weirdish, but like nothing to write home about. Alright, the next movie I watched, see, I told you there was a lot of movies this month. My husband and I watched Blade 3. That's the, I guess, third, maybe final movie in the Blade series. I think it's just a trilogy, I don't know. So if you don't know, Blade is an older, like mid-2000s, I think, series about like vampires. I don't think there's any werewolves. I think it's just vampires. But yeah, it's about vampires, and Blade is played by Wesley Snipes, I believe. And he is a vampire who also hunts vampires. I'd seen all these movies like years ago because my older brother really liked the series. It's definitely big on like action, and it's not like super gory, but I mean there is like blood and stuff like that because there's vampires and people killing them and humans getting killed and stuff like that. I don't remember a lot about like the overall storyline because we just watched the third one. Can't really say much about the story, but the action was good, and so if you're looking for an action movie that involves vampires, then why not? Also, Ryan Reynolds is in it, and he has his shirt off sometimes, and yeah. Watch it if you want to see Ryan Reynolds without a shirt on. And then the final movie that I watched this month was Black Panther, which came out last year or the year before. It's probably the most recently released movie that I've seen in a long time. And I sort of avoided it for a little bit because it seemed very overhyped. And of course, a lot of it was because this is like the majority of the cast is African American, which is pretty cool. And there's a lot of like African culture in it. I'm not sure how authentic that kind of stuff was because I don't know much about African culture. And I'm not big on like superhero movies and stuff, so I just kind of was like, whatever, I'll get to it. But I heard it was really good, so I watched it, and yeah, I really did like it. I'd probably give it 4.5 stars. I give it a tick down because I'm just not big on like CG, like really obvious CG stuff. It always just kind of turns me off a little bit and kind of brings a movie down, especially action movies. But yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was an interesting storyline. The legend of the Black Panther was really interesting to me. Lots of good fight scenes. The African culture stuff was cool. And yeah, it was pretty cool to see like a cast that was mostly black people. So my next category is TV shows. And this is another like new TV show that I've actually experienced. The show's called In the Dark, which appears on CW, and because I watch Supernatural using the CW app, In the Dark is also on that app, so I thought it would be interesting because I noticed it was about a blind woman and struggling with blind stuff, and after watching a lot of Molly Burke, I just kind of became more interested in like blind culture. Is that the right word to say? I guess. I do have a grandmother that is blind, so that kind of made me want to watch the show and also watch Molly Burke, who is a blind YouTuber, and just kind of learn like what they go through and what it's like. And actually, the character in the show In the Dark has the same disease that took Molly Burke's sight. I can't even pronounce it. Retinitis pigmentosa, I think that's how you pronounce it. So this show is about a blind woman. I'm guessing she's in her like mid-20s, and it's kind of like the ways that her life is really messed up. She's kind of a mess. She sleeps around a lot, she drinks too much, she smokes too much. She's kind of a bitch to like everyone in her life. Even the people that she likes, she's still really like sassy and blunt with. And I honestly made it really difficult to connect with her as a character. And she has a seeing eye dog, and she's not even like super nice to him. Like, I think it's the second episode that she even starts to like use the seeing eye dog. So I haven't quite figured out if the reason that she's so messy and just so angry about everything is because she's blind. I think maybe we're supposed to assume that's the case. I don't know, but we also discovered that she goes through a very violent mugging, like in the past before the first episode. And this young black kid saves her life, essentially. And so they become best friends and they hang out, but she finds him, or at least who she thinks is him, murdered and dead on the ground. And then when she goes to report it and bring the police to find his body, the body is just gone. And these aren't really like spoilers because it happens in the first episode. Sorry if those are kind of spoilers. But then basically the rest of the series, I mean, there's only 3 episodes on right now, so I don't know like what the entire series is going to be about. But right now it's about her, struggling with blindness and her own inner demons while trying to figure out who murdered her friend, even though no one believes her, because obviously she couldn't see the person's face, so they think she can't identify him, but she insists that she could because she just knows what he feels like and stuff like that. So I'm definitely interested in the show. I'll probably continue watching it, but it was really hard to even like the main character. Her name's Murphy, I believe, which is a really strange first name, if you ask me. But yeah, it was hard to like her because she's someone who just seems to continue to mess up her own life and get in her own way. And I have a really hard time connecting with characters who just constantly get in their own way and are constantly doing bad things. And she never like blames her blindness blatantly, but there are a lot of situations where she's just kind of like, well, duh, because I'm blind, or this because I'm blind. And I think the show is just trying to sort of pinpoint that sighted people have a lot of biases against blind people just because we don't understand or because we just can't put ourselves in their shoes. So I feel like it's trying to address those things, but it's doing it through a character who's not that likable, if you ask me. It wasn't until like the end of episode 2, episode 3-ish, that I'm like, okay, I think she's starting to like have some redeeming qualities, especially when it comes to her friendship with her dead/missing friend. Like, we honestly don't know if he's actually dead, but she's convinced that he is, but whatever. So I might continue watching that. It's definitely interesting, and I do like that they're trying to put more spotlight on what it's actually like to be blind. I'm really curious to know if they actually like consulted people who are blind about some of these things before they just sort of like dived in. I'm sure they did research, but I'm just hoping they did. Anyway, yeah, moving on. Okay, so my last category for the monthly recap/favorites is my miscellaneous category, and I have 2 items for that. I need a drink. I mean, this is water, but I could definitely use something harder. My first miscellaneous is actually a company that should appeal to a lot of writers, and that is Printrunner. Yeah, I'm obviously not sponsored by anyone ever that I talk about. My channel is too small to ever be sponsored, but apparently you have to like say that shit. I don't know. So Printrunner is a printing company. I don't know what else to call it. They basically print marketing materials like posters, banners, signage, stickers, magnets, stuff like that for people, for companies, but obviously they have quantities small enough that an everyday person could order stuff. And so far I've ordered 2 things from them, both related to my book. The first thing I ordered was bookmarks. Hope you guys can see them. The design was actually created by my cover designer, the same person who did the cover art for Blood of Fire and Trail of Flames, but then it was printed through Printrunner, and I just went with the very basics of stuff. So I know you can print different sizes and probably do front and back, but I just did one side so I could write on here or whatever. But yeah, it was really quick printing, really good quality, and their prices really aren't that bad. The more detailed and the more customized you get, obviously it's going to cost more, but if you do like the really basic stuff, like a one-sided printed bookmark, and I think I ordered like, I don't know, 50, 100, something like that, it really wasn't that bad. The next thing I ordered was some stickers, and these are just very simple designs. Again, This design was actually created by Critical Witch or Blake Glass. She's also the same person who designed my Valyrie doll. I don't know if you can see it from here. Actually, let's bring it down. I'll show you. So yeah, she also custom made this doll, which started as like a different kind of doll, kind of like a Bratz doll sort of thing, and she redid the hair, repainted it, like made all of these clothes by hand. So I would definitely recommend her if you're looking for little designs or if you want to get like a custom doll or like other things like that. But anyway, she's just gonna sit right there and chill. So like I said, with Print Runner, their prices are really good. The quality is really good. Again, I haven't ordered anything like really big or really extravagant, but the thing that really solidified me with them, besides the prices, is the fact that when I ordered these, you'll notice that the design is not an exact square, but I chose square because it was like the cheapest option. So they actually contacted me 3 different ways. They sent me something like through their site, they sent me an email, and they called me to confirm that I actually wanted the square, not a custom die cut, which would have gone like exactly around the border of the design. They put a hold on my order just until I could confirm it, but I was like really impressed that they took the time to actually look at what the project was, see that it maybe would look better as a custom die cut instead of a square, which it probably would, but I'm a cheap bitch, so whatever. And then they took the time to actually contact me multiple ways to make sure that this was actually what I wanted before they put in the order. And I was like really impressed by that. So they would definitely get my vote. The last item in my miscellaneous category is some new coffee. My husband actually found this company called Black Rifle Coffee Company. This is the Just Black version, the ground coffee. You always gotta smell it. You gotta smell the coffee. So this is actually a company that is veteran run, veteran owned. They're based out of Salt Lake City, Utah, which is pretty close to where we live. They're local, American made, veteran owned, like super awesome. So David always likes to look for veteran owned companies to support because he's an Army veteran. And he knows that I like coffee, so he found Black Rifle Coffee and said, why don't you check it out? And I think some of his like friends and coworkers also recommended it. I got their Just Black coffee to try it. They do have quite a few other types, but I was just looking for something like very baseline, basic medium roast, just so I can get a feeling for what their coffee tastes like and stuff. And I don't really know that much about coffee, to be honest. I just know I like to drink it. I tried to find something that was just very like as baseline as I could to just get an idea. And then I also ordered a little coffee maker thing from them. Let's see if I can hold this up. It's actually one of those, I don't know what you call it, like a drip coffee thing. It's meant for like traveling or for being out in the field or for camping. So I hope you can see that. So when you put the little pieces together, they fit together like a puzzle. And then you just prop them up on this, and then your coffee cup would sit underneath. You do have to use a coffee filter, but you just stick the filter in there, put the coffee in, and then you pour hot water through it, and it drips through. If there's anyone out there who doesn't understand how like a drip coffee maker works. And then it did come in this cute little pouch. It looks like a wallet, but it's just like a Velcro pouch, so you can take it all apart, slip it in, and then you can easily take it with you so it won't get like bent or messed up. Mine did come slightly bent, which is a downside, but it still works, and it's actually a lot faster than the other coffee maker that I've been using for the last like year or so, which was like an aeration, like pressure coffee maker that you have to like physically do yourself, and it just stopped working as well. It leaks a lot more, so I wanted something different, and yeah, I mean, this works. The only downside that I found is really more just like their website, in the sense that the content on their website is a little odd. Not odd, but it's very branded. So I work in SEO, search engine optimization, so I understand the marketing side of writing, where you want to figure out who your audience is and write specifically for them. So the writing on their website is definitely written for the manly man, the veteran, and all their stuff is kind of like, drink this coffee and stack bodies, and it doesn't tell you a whole lot about the actual coffee. So it was pretty hard for me to figure out which coffee I wanted, because I just want like really middle of the road stuff. I don't need a shit ton of caffeine, and I didn't want decaf or anything that was like, I don't know, like weird or something. So it was really hard for me to figure out which one I wanted, just because the descriptions were so like, this'll put hair on your chest. And I'm like, but will it taste good? What does it taste like? But Just Black had like a fairly decent description. And it does say 100% Colombian coffee, roasted to a consistently smooth, bold, and rich flavor. Okay, I guess that works. I don't know. So my camera died, so I had to restart. If the camera angle looks a little bit different, then that's why. Like I was saying, I do recommend Black Rifle Coffee if you want to support an American-owned, veteran-owned brand. I think at some point I will try maybe one of their flavored coffees or just something else. But right now, like, I'm happy with the coffee that I got from them, and I'm happy with the coffee maker. It would be interesting to try some different stuff, but they didn't have like a ton of variety. And like I said, it was a little bit difficult to tell like what the stuff is supposed to taste like. So maybe if you're a bit more of a coffee connoisseur and you know like the differences between beans and you know that you like dark, light, medium roast, whatever, like I'm just kind of like a casual coffee drinker, 1 cup a day, don't even really need it kind of person. I like the brand and I would recommend them. So that just about does it for my April recap / favorites. So if I had to choose any favorites from my categories, the book of the month was The Leviathan Prince, and I highly recommend this series. Obviously, if you think you would want to read this book, definitely start with The Phoenix Host because that's the first one in the series. As for my movies, what was my favorite movie out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies that I watched this month? Oh my gosh, that's a hard one. Okay, so for the comedies, Monty Python, The Holy Grail, 100%, loved that one. And then as far as like the action ones go, I would say Black Panther. Black Panther, like I said, I would give it like 4.5 stars. The other ones were a little bit older or just not as good. Shows, In the Dark, that was the only show I watched. Would I recommend it? I guess. I mean, yeah, you could give it a shot if you have television and have the CW channel, or you can download the CW app for free and watch the shows on there like day after they air. Not sponsored, but that sounded kind of like an advertisement. It wasn't, I swear. I think I might continue watching it just because I'm interested in the mystery at this point. Out of the miscellaneous category, Print Runner or Black Rifle Coffee. I mean, it's really hard to pick like a favorite out of 2 things that have nothing in common. I guess I would pick Print Runner if I had to choose like a favorite because I've ordered from them more than once. Their quality is good, their prices are really good, especially if you're looking for just really like simple basic designs without, you know, really like fancy stuff. If you want something that's a bit more fancy, like they have a ton of products they sell. So if you are a business owner or an author looking for swag, bookmarks, banners, especially among authors, if you need like a poster for an event or a book signing that you're doing, then check out Print Runner. That is everything. If you have experienced any of these things, watched, read, drank, then leave a comment below and tell me what you thought about those things. If you'd like to follow me on other social media, I will link all of those down below in the description. If you'd like to check out my debut self-published novel, Blood of Fire, I will also leave that in the description. It's available in paperback through Amazon and also on Kindle. So until next time, see ya! Lordy, okay, let's do a thumbnail so I can eat my dinner. Oh, I'm holding it backwards! Ah! Look at this, I'm like advertising my own book in like someone else's book. Oh. She smells good. Ooh, that was creepy.